Christina's conscious synergetic thought process presents Planet Utopia, episode 12-10-22. Immediate or reasonable comprehension. When composing anticipatory thoughts, imagine Planet Utopia as a synergetic, predominantly nonpolitical economic environment of a deliberately intellectual design. We soon realize that it is a most worthwhile project. Intellect can compare it to the destructive ambitions prevalently attributable, accelerating physical forces that continue in a relative ignorance of the metaphysical slow down to no time at all. Missing from local problem-solving initiatives is consciousness evolution's omnidirectional universes always and only coexisting complementarities, metaphysical and physical. It is individual life's metaphysical intellect universe observer as a function of omnirational universe designed by eternal omniscient mind Yom. We are designed to eventually, consciously, knowledgeably, objectively recognize self-awareness is a priori at the center of a movable sphere. A center of a movable sphere of observation is where each individual's viewpoint can belong to no other individual's reasonable comprehension. Immediate or reasonable comprehension is subsequent to a great deal of apprehension during a lifetime of experiences. By apprehension, I mean synonymously with the words knowing and understanding, when we can feel any number of anticipations before comprehending. But when the word apprehension was adopted by the justice system and means the action of arresting someone, that is a different direction imposed by the PRJWBCHM. Politics, religion, justice, war, belief complex, hierarchical matrix, fear, engendering economics. As it turns out, there is a lag rate between apprehension and comprehension where the 6 degrees of freedom come into a mind's metaphysical generalized conception field of thought, induced thus by the generalized content of disseminated information. In any event, imaginably, our individual movable sphere of observation is in a relationship to all the other centers of movable spheres, which logically applies to awareness. That a certain number of spheres must be in a closer proximity to our coexisting local environmental eventing, whether we are consciously knowledgeable of this or not. So, awareness of the always and only coexisting complementarities, acceleration and deceleration, acceleration and eternal slowdown, active and potential, annihilation and conservation, association and disassociation, chaos and design, cosmic and local, critical proximity and innocuousness, edge and angle, elementary and complex, proximity and innocuousness, edge and angle, elementary and complex, event and no-vent, eternal integrity and experience, frequency and wave magnitude, gravity in parentheses matter and radiation, geodesics and irrelevance, zero and system from our individual movable sphere's center of observation is in a potential omnicomprehensive relationship to all the other centers of movable spheres. Logically, this awareness applies to everyone in our coexisting local environmental eventing, while not everyone is relevant to what we individually are cogitating in respect to equilibrium and disequilibrium with the vector equilibrium and metaphysical conceptioning field of thought. In any case, the thought-language experience is relative to unity and self in universe, involving questions about omniscience, being transcendental in its velocity to the physical speed of all radiation, which involves awareness of gravity. So the individual or mobile viewpoint of its movable sphere is not the computer technology's mobile phone and algorithmic codes. It is closest to a metaphysical conceptuality of absolute slowdown to no time at all, as well as zero and system. Synergetically informed intuition is presented with alternate technologies within and without geodesics and irrelevance, respecting active and potential, omnitopological edge and angle, frequency and wave magnitude, which apparently was dismissed by educated ignorance when algorithms were permitted to take precedence over the universal communications process. It was and continues in disrespect, not in respect to, vector equilibrium as a mind's reliable, consciously coordinated thought language. Thought action cogitating includes integration and differentiation. Integration, by the way, discretely controls the coordination of all complex interactions, from Bucky Fuller. Again, we see, as the dictionary informs us of word definitions, how it may have been when just as the J factor of the PRJWBCHM adopted the word precedence to determine what can be legally decided in its courts of law by imposing greater and greater distances between apprehension and comprehension, by interfering with immediate or reasonable comprehension of the Lagrange's 6 degrees of freedom, as well as metaphysical generalized conceptioning that ought to invoke relative comparisons, not irrelevantly decided, albeit mistaken, practices and rules of law. The official choice was not by the layperson's informed inputs, but as time passed, to differently educated opportunities of the individual point of view and attraction to computer technology. It may have been an anticipated mixture of altruistic vision and monetary rewards as success results. It would not have been possible to foresee the multi-billions of dollars awarded to the hierarchical status that eventually occurred in the meteoric rises from previously succeeding fortunes. The important distinction is not in the mass fortune, but in the invalidation and almost total obscurity of synergetics, where inherent rationality of omnidirectional epistemology, fortunately, was not lost to the observer's reasonable comprehension. From every published indication of R. Buckminster Fuller's synergetic experience, there is no reference to the word algorithm that I have seen in my limited view of the compilations of his chronophile. Chronophile is a word he invented from the chronological order of kept records of his entire experience, a case history concerning a much greater environmental transformation that was beginning to take place by 1917, and generations between his fathers, grandfathers, great-grandfathers, and great-great-grandfathers' successive generations. By faithfully keeping those records, which grew to about 500 volumes, it made it possible for him to see himself objectively. Awareness of this inspires my curiosity to compare anticipatory and manifest realities. Our evolution species is designed in generalized principle to survive the environmental conditions. We are also designed to differentiate and integrate observations and articulations correlating to awareness of the physical existence, environment, surrounds of life events. Our individual mobile viewpoint, as we can read in Synergetics 1001.11, includes the relevant events that are tangentially passing by our observations and moving radially toward or away from our individual center, movable spheres, mobile viewpoint. The lines are geodesically related to frequency data identified by angularity, cyclic irregularities coinciding with objectively covariable possibilities. Concerning our universe design is the modification of angles and frequencies as the only two possible covariables. Until next time, anticipating our healthy, happy coexistence on Earth and on Planet Utopia. Reference: Synergetics 1001.11. Thank you.